Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing with Halachot Av V'daber Davar. Daber Davar, was we mentioned already, is that we're not allowed to speak in mundane things or things which are prohibited on the Shabbat. Here we're going to speak about now doing calculations on things that happened in the past. So here it states in the halacha, that's based in the Shulchan Aruch, where it says that what happens if I want to make calculations on something that already passed by. So the Shulchan Aruch makes a distinction, a differentiation. He says like this: if I'm going to come and I'm going to speak about, let's say, how much money I spent, whether it's going to be on a brit milah, on a bar mitzvah, on a wedding, and again, we're talking about obviously here money. We're not talking about other things, but we're talking about that you're spending money on something and you're making calculations. So min adin, if it's something on the past and it has nothing to do with what you're doing now, there is no isur. Why is there no isur? Because at the end of the day, there was no purpose for it right here. So therefore, it's sicha betela, yes, which means it's stam for no reason that you're talking, but it's not an isur, right? It's proper to refrain from it, but there's no prohibition. If you're going to start going at lengths at it, then it could become an isur, or if there's a necessity for somebody else. So for example, your friend is doing a wedding, and you just previously did a wedding. So now, for you to come and start speaking about how much did you spend on a wedding, if nobody has a wedding now and you're just talking about it, there's no real isur. What did you do? Okay, so I spent whatever it was amount on a wedding. But it's not, you didn't actually do anything of isur, to say anything of isur. Again, it's sicha betela. It's mean that it's mundane talk, that it's for nonsense talk, because you're not gaining anything on Shabbat, but there's no isur. But if your friend now is doing the wedding, and now he's starting to make the calculations, 1 second, he just told me that flowers cost this amount, and the orchestra cost this amount, and now I'm trying to start doing cheshbonot, and they're going back and forth, then it becomes prohibited to speak about any type of these topics. Again, has nothing to do with only just weddings. This could happen whether it's talking about renovations. This could talk about anything that once it's nogea to the friend, which means once there's a purpose of what you're talking for the cheshbonot, then it becomes prohibited minadin because of v'daber davar. The next halacha is something that has a heter, which means I have a permitted way of doing it. So for example, I want to come and I want to say I'm going to Orlando tomorrow. So I'm not saying the word traveling, driving, flying. I just say I'm going to Orlando tomorrow and it's Shabbat. So now, if there's a possibility of getting to Orlando in a heter way, for example, Burganin, which is basically that from here to Orlando, there would be always houses, right? Or within a certain amount that there's no problem of the tchum of Shabbat, that there's always going to be a group of houses from here to Orlando. So then there's no problem. Even though right now there is no group of houses. Meaning the fact that it could have been a group of houses and Burganin, which means that I could get there, so then there's no isur. So I could say, tomorrow I'm going to Orlando, because I could have gone to Orlando even today if there would have been Burganin and there wouldn't have been a problem of going out of the tchum of the Shabbat. Now he says, however though, to come and to say that I'm going to travel, so then here already you get into a machloket, whether it's permitted or prohibited. Some people say that it's going to be prohibited. For sure you could hint to it, because hinting is what's going to be the next halacha, which is hirurim. Hirurim means it's only a hint. We actually sing it in the song. We say hirurim mutarim. What does it mean hirurim mutarim? It's a Shulchan Aruch mefurash, right? Which means Shulchan Aruch says anytime that you're thinking, there's no isur. Because remember, v'daber davar has to be dibur. Hirurim is not dibur. Since thinking in your mind is not considered a speech, so therefore you could think about your own things on Shabbat. So you could think about how much money you need to spend or going to spend. Obviously, lechatchila, you shouldn't do that, and you should try to get this off your mind on Shabbat. But if you do it on Shabbat, there's no isur minadin. There's no prohibition minadin. So therefore, if I'm going to come and I'm going to tell you I'm going to Orlando tomorrow, and you understand that I'm not walking, you know very well that I'm either driving or flying, right? Or you're going to say, I'll send it to you tomorrow. And you know that on Shabbat it means that I'm going to send it to you by email, by chat, by WhatsApp or whatever. But still, the fact that I did not mention it, and it's only going to be in a hinting way, so therefore that is considered hirurim mutarim, and there's no isur on Shabbat to say that. So I'm going to say, I'll send you the Dvar Torah tomorrow. You know very well that that means by email. But the fact that I did not say that I'm sending you an email tomorrow, so therefore there's no isur minadin. You're allowed to come and you're allowed to say that on the Shabbat, and there's no prohibition whatsoever.